In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the werewolf is described as the most iconic of lycanthropes, a shape-changing monster with a humanoid wolf form weak to silvered weapons that can regenerate most wounds, and pass their curse of lycanthropy to others via bite. While there are some werewolf packs out there doing good things, most werewolves are drawn to the violence of the hunt, and fall under the sway of Malar, god of hunting and bestial savagery. They typically live in roaming packs similar to natural wolves, following an alpha werewolf and its ideals, virtues, and orders. Werewolves are the most common type of lycanthrope in Faerun, but there are also other were-creatures such as bears, boars, and tigers. The werewolf in 5th edition has an AC of 12 in wolf form and 58 hit points, with a move speed of 40 feet. They have basic stats and training in perception and stealth, making them decent hunters. They're immune to weapon damages from non-magical, non-silvered weapons, and are natural shape changers with the ability to polymorph from humanoid to wolf, or wolf-humanoid hybrid as an action. Werewolves have advantage on perception checks to do with hearing and smell, and in combat they have a range of physical abilities. In their humanoid and hybrid forms they get a multi-attack, 2 spears, or a bite and a claw respectively. The wolf form can only bite, dealing 3 to 10 damage, and forcing a constitution save that if failed curses the player with lycanthropy. The claws deal 4 to 10 damage, and the spear as a humanoid has a range of 20 to 60 feet, and a damage potential of 3 to 8 if thrown, or 3 to 10 if used in a melee attack. As a DM, I would use a single werewolf as a challenging creature for low-level parties. For players of level 1 to 3, they're unlikely to have magical weapons or access to powerful magic, so to be effective against the werewolf, they'll need to gain silvered weapons to do any real damage. For higher levels, I would use the werewolves in a pack, but there are so many other creatures that have traits like pack tactics that I would use instead. When fighting a party of lower level, I would have the werewolf in its hybrid form, as the wolf form can only use bite, and the humanoid form has a lower AC. It's my opinion that the humanoid and wolf forms are meant to be used for blending into people or nature, and the hybrid form is the one for combat. In combat, the strategy is relatively simple. Attack spellcasters and healers first, as they're the ones who can actually hurt the werewolf or heal the party. If a player is using a non-silvered weapon, the werewolf will be able to identify that they're of no real threat, and therefore should be ignored until those who can hurt it are dead. From there, they should focus on those who do have silvered weapons, and then finally run down the fools who don't. In mythology, the werewolf has 2 suggested origins. The first is the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest known form of Western prose written. In this epic tale, there's a section in which Gilgamesh jilts a lover at the altar because he finds out that she used magic to transform a former lover into a wolf over some unspecified quarrel. The second source, and the source for the term lycanthropy, is the ancient Greek tale of Lycaon, a king of Arcadia. In the most popular telling of the tale, Lycaon is a devout worshipper of Zeus, who has sudden doubts about the god's omniscience. He brutally murders his son and cooks the body, then serves this meal to Zeus to see if the god is truly all-knowing. Upon being served this meal, Zeus immediately curses Lycaon and transforms him into a wolf to be ousted from civilization and live among the beasts that are just as cruel as he is. Zeus then brings Lycaon's son back to life, who is then crowned as the king of Arcadia. In folklore in later centuries, the idea of a wolfman or a werewolf is typically a creature that could shapeshift from human to wolf, or some sort of hybrid form to hunt their fellow man. The term lycanthropy started being used by the ancient scholar Petronius to describe the actual disease or curse that led to this transformation. The werewolf legend quickly spread around Europe, used like most other folktales to scare children or accuse people of misdoings. The concept was then transferred to North America via colonialism, and played a small part in the witch hunts around Europe and the New World, with some records indicating that transforming into a werewolf or cursing someone with lycanthropy was the work of witches and the followers of the devil. In contemporary media, the werewolf or lycanthrope is a staple of fantasy, and takes most of its inspiration from the Christianized Germanic version of the myth. However, there are countless versions of lycanthropes from all around the world. The Grecian origin was expanded by some like Pliny the Elder to include beastmen and warriors who could turn themselves into wolves. Germanic pagans and Nordic cultures also believed in a subset of berserker warriors, who had the blood and sometimes appearance of wolves, who could not feel any pain. The change from lycanthropy being a curse to a disease as portrayed in modern media is thought to have come from rabies. Scholars point out that many of the origin tales of lycanthropes involve humans transforming into actual full wolves, not hybrids, and that the hybrid was a later addition in Europe. They go on to say that lycanthropy as a transmittable disease was not really a concept in the original tales. Instead, it was added on in the past few hundred years and was likely based off of rabies, which was often studied in wolves and other canines and could infect humans. When comparing the monster to the myth, we find that D&D has taken the classic iconography, as well as the ability to transform into a full wolf, while adding in the transmittable curse aspect that was tacked on in more modern times. The werewolf in D&D is both a faithful representation of classic tales and contemporary pop culture. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join the Patreon for $1 a month to access videos days before they're posted here, as well as other exclusive stuff like short stories, videos, and more.